Today, border czar Tom Homan will be in Minneapolis. His first order of business, he's going to meet with Mayor Jacob Frey as President Trump looks to ease tensions between the state and the White House. The president spoke with both Frey and Governor Walz yesterday and posted about it. Fox News contributor Guy Benson joins us now. Guy, so much has changed in 24 hours. Tom Homan in, Bovino out to his original post, but they say not fired. What do you think?
Well, it seems like a demotion at the very least, and my guess is President Trump, and there were some sources whispering about this over the weekend, he was watching how everything went down in this terrible, deadly incident, the response, the statements that were made by high-ranking officials, and the backlash against the untruthfulness of some of those statements, or at least the debatable nature of what they were saying. And he said, enough of this. This is, among other things, a political and PR battle, and a way to lose it is to not have credibility with the public. And so he decided to send in Tom Homan, who's a very experienced guy. He understands the job through and through. He wants to take it very seriously and do it the right way. And I think that Trump going out of his way to note that Homan hadn't been involved in Minneapolis or Minnesota was sort of a blank slate moment to say, hey, this needs fresh eyes, fresh leadership. And by the way, he's reporting directly to me. That was a shakeup, and I think a needed one.
Right.
So what we see here is that Tom Homan, who's the border czar, is replacing Greg Bovino, who's there in Minnesota with all the things that were happening. And people are looking at it as Greg Bovino's getting fired or whatever, all this stuff. No, he's just getting replaced by Tom Homan. I look at Greg Bovino and the U.S. Border Patrol. I look at them like the Army. They come in there, do the dirty work, do the work that a lot of people don't want to do, right? And then they get up out of there. And now we got Tom Homan, the border czar, being in charge, and he's more like the Marines, right? He's coming in there and he's just cleaning everything up, and he's cleaning it quick. He's not playing around. Everybody know he has a no-nonsense attitude. So I like this. Tom Homan is a beast. Pete, you know what? See, Tom Homan, people are more scared of Tom Homan than Greg Bovino. See, that's what you guys don't understand. Tom Homan is one of those feared people. So if I'm in your state, in your city, these officials fear him more than Greg Bovino. Tom Homan's been through this before. He's actually worked with some of these people when he was with Obama. So this is what you're going to start seeing with Tom Homan. You're going to start seeing Tim Walz helping, Jacob Frey helping. They are going to help him get to the mission that they need to get so they can get out of there. Tom Homan's better on the PR front. He's better as far as dealing with the media. He's better at talking and giving them facts. And whereas Greg Bovino is a soldier. He don't want to be in front of the camera. He don't want to be talking to nobody. He want to be boots on the ground, and he wants to get it in. Tom Homan is a little more diplomatic, but he's a hard ass, but he knows how to talk to the media. So basically what we have to look at with the Trump administration, their big thing is PR. Right? They want to do the things that they want to do with the immigration, but they want to do it and make it look good and keep it looking good on the news front. So Tom Homan is going to help out with that. Where Greg Bovino struggles as far as PR, talking to people, doing speeches, Greg Bovino don't want to do that. Tom Homan excels in that. See, he excels in the PR, talking to the media, but also getting the job done and telling the people, this is what we did. The thing what happened with the shooting in Minnesota with the ICU nurse, Greg Bovino, they feel like he didn't handle it great, but he just, told them what he knew. So I just think that Tom Homan is going to get a lot more done, but don't overlook the work that Greg Bovino has done in Minnesota. He's just going to be going to another place, maybe California, maybe New York, maybe who knows where. Look, Greg Bovino is going to get up out of there, and I believe that Greg Bovino is probably happier that he's not in that role as far as being in the media every single day. He wants to get it in and get to work. So I really feel that the people in Minnesota, Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, they are going to be looking at this like, damn, Tom Homan's here and he's not messing around. So I don't see this as a bad thing. I don't see this as a negative against the Trump administration. I just see them beefing up the people in there, putting the right person in the forefront that knows how to deal with the media and get the job done at the same time. So I don't see this as a demotion at all. But also, too, like he said, Tom Homan gets a clean slate. He's not judged by anybody. He's not in the media. He's actually been away for a couple weeks, and now he's back in it. Now he can do the media and then get the job done. And also, too, that Tim Walz and Jacob Frey will work with them. You already see it now where they're having their people, their police and everything help now. All this could have been stopped, right? If Tim Walz and Jacob Frey would have had their police department, their National Guard help. Keep the protesters back. Make sure they're peaceful. That's all they had to do. But now I believe that Tim Walz and Jacob Frey didn't respect a Kristi Noem, Greg Bovino, but they sure to hell respect Tom Homan because they know his track record.
And I think it's leadership, too. I'm going to take action. Kristi Noem, focus on FEMA and other things. With Minneapolis, we're going to put some fresh eyes in there that have credibility on both sides. The other thing I think to point out, too, Tom Homan's kind of iced out. You notice he wasn't on television for the last 2-3 weeks. His focus is going to be on the worst of the worst. And I sense that Bovino and company were just scooping up some people that I don't think the president was for. I mean, it was about 6 weeks ago when the president was talking about finding a way for people that have been here 20, 30 years or 15, 20 years and finding them a way of have maybe a long-term work visa with a sponsorship and that type of program. That didn't coalesce with what we were seeing.
Well, the promise was mass deportations that applied to anyone in the country illegally, but the focus that they really targeted in terms of their rhetoric and certainly many of their actions was the worst of the worst, people with criminal records. And by the way, in the first roughly year of this Trump administration, according to ICE data, about 70% of ICE arrests were of people with criminal histories in the U.S. So that's a very good batting average. I think the thing spun out of control in Minneapolis, largely due to the left, by the way, and these roving, rogue bands of agitators that are almost like these militias running around, stalking these officers, deliberately interfering in operations, which is a crime. I think these are criminal enterprises in many cases, not just so-called peaceful protests, of course, stoked and egged on the whole way by a lot of these politicians. And I think Trump was right to finally get on the phone with the mayor and the governor. If they want things to change on the ground, they also have to give something. And hopefully Homan can broker that.
Hey,
I think you'll see things dying down in Minnesota because what you're going to start seeing now that we have Tom Homan there and we see the media coverage that they're getting is they have to help to protect the protesters from themselves. The reason why we have lost 2 people in Minnesota is because they took it upon themselves to get in the way or to mess with the agents, right? ICE agents, Border Patrol agents, federal agents. We have 2 people that are not here on this earth because they got in the way. So what Tim Walz and Jacob Frey need to do is use their own personnel and keep those protesters away. We're not saying you can't protest, but protest over there. Don't try to walk up into an agent. Don't have a gun and walk up to an agent. Like, don't try to block an agent. It's very, common sense, but all this stuff could have been prevented if Tim Walz and Jacob Frey would have just worked with the administration and said, okay, cool. How long y'all going to be here? A month? Okay, cool. We'll use our people. We'll make sure they are safe and away. You do your job, and then that's it. There's no way there should be people out there, agitators and professional protesters, just out there causing chaos. This is what they wanted. But they thought that, okay, the more and more media coverage that we get, the more and more likely they'll leave sooner. But what Trump is doing, he's digging his heels in the sand and saying, we're not leaving. And I think that Governor Walz and Jacob Frey finally see that, especially with the replacing of Bovino with Homan. So if you know that our border czar is coming, okay, we have to help because they're not leaving anytime soon.
Guy, I never heard the governor or the mayor say, hey, I want peaceful protests. What I saw outside that hotel is not peaceful. Hey, I want peaceful protests. But I just heard you bit off the finger of one of the agents. That's not what I'm talking about. They have not called out anything. They've made ridiculous statements like this is about love and sticking up for your neighbor. I looked at Mike Schellenberger last night and says, I would say that almost nobody on the street knows any illegal immigrant. They're out there organized, some of which getting paid. And we see some of the transmissions, taking down license plate, moving not like a militia, as a militia. Meanwhile, it leads us all towards a government shutdown.
So all this is trying to do this chaos, this protesters, all this, they're trying to defund ICE, but already ICE and the federal agents already got $170 billion in their last bill that was passed. So this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to force this action so there can also be another government shutdown so they can finally have oversight for these federal agents. But these federal agents don't need oversight. The more and more people's in the way, the more and more things don't happen. Okay? So Governor Walz, all these guys need to just basically just say, we're going to help. As soon as they help, as soon as they keep people at bay, things will get done. And then you won't hear about Minnesota again unless it's about their Somali fraud, which we already know about, $9 billion. But at the end of the day, these people are causing chaos for the media attention so they can think that they can punk these people out, but they're not. So now they got Tom Homan there. What do you think is going to happen now? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. It's always going to keep this thing rocking. Make sure you subscribe and be a member of the Go Getter Patreon. Link is in the description. I appreciate you guys' support. No filter. Morning show coming soon. We're going to keep it rocking, keep it going. I'm out.